Hi, I'm Scott Weaver with Factory Direct Designers Workroom, and today is our step one on measuring window treatments for your inverted scallop valance that we're going to be offering on our website. And so this is the window that we're going to be covering, and we're going to talk about how many scallops that you're going to need for this to properly fit. We have three different sizes available. We have an 8-inch wide scallop, a 10-inch wide scallop, and a 12-inch wide scallop. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, please refer back to my video segment on our inverted box pleated valance that has an introductory, and it'll explain how the valance works and how it's pleated and whatsoever. It's my first one, and this is step one actually of learning how to use that valance. So we're going to be talking about the window itself, and how to properly get the right size and the correct amount of scallops for that. So we take a quick measurement, outside molding to outside molding, and this window measures 37.5. Well, you got a 12-inch wide scallop, which won't work because 3 times 12 is 36 inches. The next one over is make it 48 inches. So that one would be too wide for this. The 8-inch one would work because it's 37.5 wide. You can go out to 40 inches, so you would have 5 8-inch boxes to equal this. And then you have a 10-inch box, which would work fine too, because 4 times 10 is obviously 40 inches. So as I said, this window measures 37.5. You do want to go out an inch or two on either side, so the 40-inch range would work perfectly for this window. The next thing I want to talk about is the height, because I get a lot of emails and people are asking me, what's the right depth I should have for a valance? And they always give me, for this measurement, from the top of the casement down. Well, that's not the proper way to measure for the depth of your valance. The proper way to measure is to first figure out where your valance is going to go. For instance, my valance is going to go to the top of this bracket. And just as a quick summary, if you have an 8-foot ceiling, I'm going to tell you that most people use a 16-inch drop on their valance. It has nothing to do with the length of the windowsill. It's how far up your window is. Now, if this window happened to be placed down here, 16 inches would be way too deep. You'd only want something that's maybe 8 to 10 inches. So it's really where your window is mounted is more of a factor than what the top and the bottom of your casement is. So the idea is that when you're talking about the drop is that you want to be able to look straight out your window without having to bend down and look underneath your valance. So with that in mind, I'm also going to talk about how far up you should go with it. Now, I'm going up 3 inches, a 3-inch angle iron, and by the time I put my board on top, which is what the valance is going to be mounted on, it's going to be 4 inches up. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go 4 inches from top of the casement down, and the 16 inches is right here. And that's a very nice place to start your valance, because it's still giving you the scenery that you want from the outside. Now, if you had a 10-foot high ceiling and your windows go up higher, then you might want to consider it more like a 20-inch. Or if you're talking about a kitchen window in between 2 cabinets, you're probably only talking about a 12-inch drop, that is. Okay, so now we know that we're going to be using a 40-inch wide scallop, and that we're going to use either 5 scallops of 8 inches or 4 scallops of 10 inches. I'm going to go with the 4 at 10 inches for this particular one, but it's going to depend on your taste. Now, the second thing, if you watch my introductory on our scallop valance, you'll understand that they are mounted onto a pine board. You have 2 sizes, and the pattern can accommodate either one. This is a 1x6 board, which is actually 5.5 inches. And I talk a lot about returns. A return is the side of the board. That's what's going to return back to the wall. If you have a drapery rod underneath here, then I'm going to recommend that you use the full return, which is the 1x6, which is actually 5.5 inches. And by the way, my valances, my patterns, include all the sewing allowances. So if you, it's actually a 6-inch return. By the time you sew it with a 1/2 inch sewing allowance, it's going to become 5.5, so it's going to fit here on here perfectly. So let's go over that first. I'm going to put this up to the window, and I'll show you how it's going to be installed after the valance. The valance is going to be mounted on this board first before you install it. But it's just easier for me to show you without having the actual valance on it. So this board is going to be put right up on here, and you're going to be measuring in, as in this particular case, it's a little over 1 inch on either side. So it's going to hang just like a shelf would be with your valance. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use a screw, and you're going to screw into the board on either side of this, just like this, to hold the valance in place. So it's a very simple installation. And this is the size that even if you had a rod like this, either mounted on the frame or off of it, it'll certainly accommodate and clear this board. Now, if you don't have, let me just get this out of here for a second. If you don't have any draperies underneath, then this is the size board. This is a 1x4 board, which 1x4 after it's planed is 3.5 inches. And on my pattern, there's a mark right there that'll tell you where you can cut off the extra piece to accommodate for this, and all the sewing allowances are also included on that. And this is going to be the same thing. Once your valance is mounted on here, you're just going to stick it back up in here, and you're going to screw it down. Now, I also want to talk about side panels. If you have side panels and you're using a 1x6 board, you get a little bit more flexibility in how many scallops you have, because you can bring your drapery panels away from your window, whether they're opening and closing or if they're just side panels. A lot of mistakes that people make with draperies is they have it stacked into their window. What you really want to do for a single window like this, you would want to come off 8 inches off on this wall on either side, and then when you stack your draperies on, they're only just covering the inside edge of your windowsill. And that will give you greater, if you had them, it would give you greater flexibility on how many scallops that you're using. So this is step 1 of the video on our scallop valance. Step 2 is going to be cutting the valance, explaining the pattern a little bit more, cutting the pattern into sections, and cutting out. So I hope you join us for that instructional video, and thank you for watching. Bye.